Alright guys, welcome to my Paladin leveling guide for TBC Anniversary. So first of all, we're going to start with a little bit of an introduction, answering the most important question people ask: should you play Retribution or Protection? Then we'll go through some pretty useful tips and tricks to speed up your leveling, the optimal talent builds, your playstyle, your stat priority, classic items you should be keeping, and your reputation priority. So, should you go Protection or should you go Retribution? Well, it depends really on how good your gear is, to be honest. You need some pretty decent plate spell power gear in order to make Protection work very, very well. There's not a lot of that, okay, in vanilla. However, to be honest, your healing gear, if you've been healing as a Paladin, you know, on Alliance, that healing gear is, you know, your set pieces are very, very good. A lot of people have obviously swapped their set pieces out for better healing pieces, like cloth pieces and stuff like that. Yeah, you definitely need to throw them in the bin, right? Get them disenchanted, get some good plate gear on, and then you can start leveling a Protection very, very effectively. There's also some great items that I'm going to show you later on in the video, which will help with Protection Paladin leveling even more. But obviously some people are going to be rushing on the Horde side, obviously, getting their Blood Elves leveled up, and it's probably going to be a lot more difficult to get decently geared before TBC actually launches, because it's very doubtful. I want to be wrong, but it's probably very doubtful we are going to get a pre-patch longer than 2 weeks. In that case, you probably just want to get as good Rep Paladin gear as you can, but really it's going to be pretty difficult. And you're just going to have to solo level with as good as gear as you can possibly get. Or what another option would actually just be healing in dungeons instead. Because yeah, your gear is going to be pretty crap by the time you hit level 60. It won't be horrendous, but yeah, trying to level and doing big Protection Paladin pulls is going to be, you know, a questionable life choice. Now, if you're already raiding right now as an Alliance member, what you should already be doing right now is getting stuff like Avenger's Crown and getting Judgment gear, okay? Because obviously the Avenger's gear is basically just absolutely perfect for proper leveling as a Paladin, because as you can see, you know, the Redemption gear, it's going to change. The tooltip there is the vanilla tooltip. It will change to give you some spell damage, okay, but it's not going to be as much as the healing. Whereas Avenger's gear, it's like max, like spell power. It's basically, look, it's the perfect stats for Protection Paladin leveling, so Avenger's gear is just amazing. And obviously when you grab yourself a spell power one-handed weapon and a really good shield, I'd recommend one little trick I've done in my warrior guys, which is very good for leveling, you know, in a Protection spec, before if you're not doing raids or anything, is what you do is you go to the auction house, you type in blocking, the word blocking, into the auction house, and you're going to get basically green high level shields that add 3% to your block chance, which is very good. And then you can get an enchant onto that, another 2%, and you've got a shield that gives you 5% block chance. Okay, that is a very good, you know, idea to go, you know, a very good path to go down if you don't have the ability to do, you know, vanilla WoW raids to get like loads of like good shields and stuff like that. Anyway, another tip, downranking your spells to save mana, great tip. Remember the Blessing of Protection and Holy Wrath combo, you know, to get, you know, Holy Wraths off. And get Forum Shield Spike. I'm going to recommend more items like that later in the guide as well. By the way, guys, if you're still trying to catch up for the TBC pre-patch, the best way, by far, to do that is to get a leveling add-on, which just tells you exactly where to go in the exact right order to massively save time. I recently have been leveling with my friend who has absolutely zero experience with World of Warcraft, and we actually managed to get to like level 15 in 3.5 hours. It's ridiculously fast, grinding like 15k XP per hour. That low level is just ludicrous, and it's because of the guide. It will tell you where to die, okay, for certain skips, so you can skip massive walks. It tells you when to skip certain quests because you can complete that quest while doing another quest at the same time later. It tells you when to pre-prepare items to basically get instant quest turn-ins again later during the leveling journey. It saves you so much time because it gives you all of that knowledge that you don't know when you're jumping into World of Warcraft and playing the game. If you don't believe me, you can get up to level 20 totally for free by just getting the add-on off Curse Client. And if you do want to support the channel, be sure to click my link in the description to automatically get a really good discount on the Rested XP guide. So if you do have the luxury of going Protection Paladin, this is definitely the build that you're going to go for. Definitely going to get Rebound, you're definitely going to get just a little cheeky rank in Holy Shield, and you're going to get Spiritual Focus for the times that you do actually need to pop off some heals. It is going to make it that much easier, obviously. If leveling in Ret, it's pretty straightforward. You're just going to go deep Ret. I'd recommend probably getting Precision. Again, if you haven't managed to grab any good hit gear in vanilla raiding, you're going to need that 3% hit straight away. You can get this at level 62, and then just finish off points in Divine Strength until your level max level, and then you're going to be swapping into a different spec for raiding anyway. Now let's talk about the playstyle. First thing, what blessing should you use? Well, honestly, guys, you should be experimenting with, you know, what you feel is best for you, to be honest, because it's going to be different depending on what ranks of it you have, and depending on the situation. So usually it's probably going to be Kings. If you obviously, if you're in protection spec, you've got Kings. And obviously it depends on what other Paladins in the group or anything like that. You're on the majority probably going to be using Seal of Wisdom, because you really do need the mana, to be honest. And you're going to max rat Consecration, right? You need that for the damage, but you can get away with a low rank Holy Shield to save on mana. You're only going to use Avenger's Shield when you're pulling. When you're casting Avenger's Shield, it takes away all of your avoidance, okay? And you basically take way more damage, so don't be doing that. It's a bit silly. And obviously goes without mentioning, you know, keep up Righteous Fury if you are in a group, and Ret Aura, obviously, for the damage. So usually, you know, going to make sure you got Seal of Wisdom up. You're going to clump up the mobs with your mount. You pop Holy Shield straight away. Okay, that is your priority, because you are going to be getting whacked, and that's going to reduce the damage you take. Max right Consecration, Holy Shield, Consecration, and then you just heal up when the mobs are dead with your Holy Shield. Now, in order to like get, the problem is, guys, again, like I mentioned earlier, you do need a pretty good chunk of spell power in order for you to pull off this rotation and actually kill the mobs. Okay, you can also use like Blessing of Protection with Holy Wrath, you know, if you're taking on demons, and you can use Divine Shield if you're in a tight spot, and you combine Concentration Aura with obviously Spiritual Focus to get heals off, to make it that much easier when you're struggling for survivability. But yeah, I'm going to also recommend some items now. Actually, I may as well just jump into this right now, which are going to help you secure these kills. If you come to the Wowhead comment section of any of these items, it will basically give you a list of all of the items that you can use. So I'd recommend getting all of them, to be honest. So you got the Nagler Ring, free damage on every single attack, and you've also got another item which is Razor Gauntlets, which basically is the same thing. You've got Cloak of Flames, that's 5 damage on attacks. You've obviously got your Shield Spikes, which I definitely recommend getting. And then for shields, really want to get the Skull Flame Shield if you can. It has a really good proc chance. The Green Tower is a much lower drop chance to occur, unfortunately. If you can't afford this, again, go and do my other trick where you get like a Shield of Blocking. Okay, because that 5% block, it obviously, as we can see, is going to do quite a bit of damage because of Thorium Shield Spike, and obviously because of Holy Shield. You've got Essence of Pure Flame, which is a trinket. You can get 13 damage to the attacker. That is actually quite nice. You can obviously go for the Headpiece from Nomagon. This gives you a 10-minute buff, even when you have the item unequipped. Obviously, Ret Aura, I don't know what the Crystal Spire is, to be honest. You got Fire Shield, and you've got Thorns as well, if you've got those classes in the group. And then if you've got Sulphurous, you can also use Sulphurous if you want to. But yeah, that's obviously a fairly unlikely scenario for the most people watching this video. And obviously you've got the Demon Forged Breastplate as well, which will steal health as well. And that's probably one of the best items, but this is ridiculously expensive on the auction house, so I don't feel great about recommending it, to be honest, because the other items are fairly easy to obtain, guys. But yeah, this is expensive, and Skull Flame Shield is very expensive. But when you combine all these together, you do become an actual god. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous how powerful Protection Paladin can become with all these items stacked together. Now, if you are playing Ret and you're going for your two-hander, play style, same again, like, keep up those things that you're going to use. And then, obviously you're going to use, basically just keep your seal up and Judgment on cooldown and Crusader Strike on cooldown. And if you are going for the Reckoning build as well, that's obviously going to be useful because, you know, when you're soloing, you are going to get hit a lot. So you actually do get to take advantage of Reckoning. It just depends whether, like, it's more damage or not. It really depends on your preference. You can go on Reckoning or then go Deep Ret. It's really up to you. And then obviously, when you get Seal of Command, you can use Seal of Command. When you get Seal of Blood at level 64, you can use that as well. But be mindful, Seal of Blood and Seal of Martyr, well, they do actually drain your health. Okay, so don't forget about that one. Yes, they do more damage in a raiding environment, but it might not necessarily be best for solo leveling because you're going to take more damage. Okay, could be risky. Now, when it comes to leveling, obviously your main priority definitely is to get spell power. I have put a little priority list here, you know, MP5 and intellect and stuff like that, but basically just get the pieces of gear that you look at it and you're like, that is perfectly tailored for the Protection Paladin. It's normally going to have strength, intellect, stamina, spell power, and it might have some MP5 on it, okay? But the MP5 pieces are probably like going to be shaman mail pieces. Ignore them, okay? You want to get as much plate gear as well. Don't have too many mail gear pieces equipped, okay, guys, because that's going to increase the damage you take. And obviously, if you're playing Ret, you just prioritize getting strength and crit, okay? And haste is also good as well, but obviously it's rare on gear when you're leveling up. But yeah, strength, crit, haste. Now, some classic WoW items here that I've recommended. Obviously, Avengers gear is your absolute priority. If you have the time to obtain it, definitely get it. And Judgment gear is also pretty good. And there's also some trinkets here, although, you know, it might be difficult to get these trinkets, but at the end of the day, if you soft reserve what you want to soft reserve at the end of the day. So Scrolls of Blinding Light, Rejuvenating Gem, Nelf Tier, One for Forgiveness are all right items. Now, playing Ret on the Horde side, you haven't managed to get a good two-hander. You know what's actually slept on is actually Ravager. Okay, it's actually pretty good for when you're clearing dungeons while leveling up in TBC. Obviously, it's a very low level item, but the Ret Paladin has, apart from Consecration, you have no AOE. And you'd be surprised how much a Ravager actually pops off when it procs. Obviously, it's very proc dependent, it's very RNG, but when you are popping off with a Ravager Whirlwind, the damage is, you will very likely out damage what you can normally achieve, okay, with single target damage. And people even use it on Hydro Trash, okay, just as an example. Now, your reputation priority. Now, your priority is definitely to go on a Horde or Fralmar for Shatar, Sonaran Expedition, and then basically just get all those heroic dungeons unlocked for badges and obviously for the heroic gear inside them. Aldor is the recommendation. Keepers of Time and Sporgor have some farming items as well. The Sporgar has a pretty cool farming shield that you might want to obtain, you know, for, you know, farming Stratholme and selling boosts and all that kind of thing if you're into that. This recommendation probably isn't for the Holy Paladin. You know, what I'd recommend, guys, is just check out the pre-bis lists on Wowhead and look at the gear requirements. And then you can make a little bit of a plan of what to obviously prioritize while you're leveling and, you know, what reputations to grind, so that you're, you know, killing two birds with one stone. Anyway, guys, my name is Metagoblin. Until my next video, ciao.